adhering DPR if you've package, go to the package, and if you install DP.
I didn't get that.
The last thing I heard was that you should go to the column where the packages have been installed.
Did we get disconnected about 10-15 minutes ago?
I got disconnected for over 30 minutes, more than.
Are you kidding
Hello?
me?
Yes, because it was 8, I think I got disconnected 8:36, and we've been trying to connect back ever since.
You should have dropped a message in the WhatsApp channel.
Eh?
Let me ask others. Guys,
you got disconnected, not me.
We can see.
Okay.
You know.
Is the R visible? Just confirm, please.
Yes. Correct.
Okay, so guys, wow. Okay, we're going to do this. I guess I'm going to be looking at the call more often now. If possible, someone can help us to be dropping messages regularly in the chat. But meanwhile, I will request everyone to be muted so that we can just focus on the class. But once in a while, just drop a message that I'm following. I'll get a beep in my ears with my earpiece so I can know that we're actually following. All right. In case network comes out again with its funny ways. Okay. Great. So it's more like starting again. So we are looking at how you can learn R through packages. Okay. And I told us that we are looking at dplyr as a package. So let's start from the beginning part. So if you are, so just come here, click on package, and scroll down the package. You'll see dplyr there. That's the one we are using to test. Actually, you can learn from any of these packages, but the one that is more useful to you for data manipulation, all kinds of transformation of data, is this dplyr. All right, you'll begin to see what we are able to do with it now. For those of you that have all kinds of data that you want to work on, especially the researchers that are among us, and for those who are right here, the Nigerians that are here, there are some persons who are joining this call from China. So that's very commendable. And I understand, I mean, most of them are researchers. So this will be very useful for transforming your data and doing all kinds of manipulations. So dplyr is what we'll be looking at. But the main objective is to see how you can learn R yourself through the packages, okay? So if you click on this dplyr, if you don't have it on your system, I told you, go to your tools. From your tools, you are able to install it. You're able to install it from your tools, yeah? So, yeah, I just try to check again to be sure that we are all joined. So with the first one we looked at before the call went off, I'm not sure that you guys heard me while I was talking about that, is this across. So I said, let's check across itself. Let's see what across does. So this is what it means to learn using packages or learn through packages, okay? So when you click on that function across, it comes here. So you read a whole lot about it. So what it does here is that across helps you to make it easy to apply the same transformation to multiple columns. So if you want to make a transformation on 4, 5, 6, 7 columns together in a particular data frame, you can use the word across, okay? And you can use other functions together with the across, especially this mutate function and even this summarize function, right? We are going to see that. But it's not enough just reading about it. You want to see how the implementation goes. This is implementation, all right? This is implementation. And what this means is that the first argument here is the columns you want to transform. The function what you want to carry out on these columns, and other things, all right? However, there is an argument here that has a an initialized value. So you don't need to impute this argument when you are using the function. Another argument here, unpack, false. You don't need to initialize this also when you are using it. Okay. Let's now scroll down to the example, real life example of this. Okay. This is an example of this. You'll see it example. All right. When you are learning with package, you see it as an example. So there is a data in this dplyr. The data is called iris data. For those who were in the second class, I think it was the second class, we looked at this particular data set. We looked at it a little bit. All right. So, we before the call went up, I copied this. I copied it up here. Let's look at that again. So this is it. So we copied the iris data set. Of course, the iris data set itself starts with small I. So we created another version of it, copy of it using capital I. Let me check quickly to ensure that guys are on the call. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. I see that we're on the call this time around. So you use this as table to just make it look good. All right. Essentially, that's what it does. It just makes it look good so that all your data don't just show. That's what this as table does. Okay. So we want to try this across function, the one we saw just now, in trying to learn about what the function can do and how it works. Now, take note. We created this iris here. I run this so that this object can be created. This object has now been created, which is, of course, a copy of the iris data. All right. It's a 150 row data with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. All right. It's about some species of flowers. All right. With different information about flowers. For one of the samples of the flower, it has a length 5.1, and it has width, sepal width of 3.5, and so on and so forth. Okay. So I told us that, I was talking about how important this is. This particular symbol you see here is called pipe symbol. It's called pipe symbol, and I tried as much as possible to explain it. So what is a pipe symbol? Just consider it in its literal word, pipe. Okay. So what it does is that it takes the value in its left-hand side and takes it through the pipe. And then the next operation, so when it goes through this pipe, whatever is the next line of code will be performed on that data. All right? Whatever is the next line of code will be performed on that data. So when you are, let's say you are using a pipe on a data that is at the left-hand side. A pipe, this is the pipe symbol. They're using it on this data. Normally, okay, let me explain what I'm trying to say. Normally, if you are using this word mutate alone, this is it. You need to supply the data you are mutating, the data you want to mutate, and then the columns you want to mutate. Normally. But if you are using pipe, it is assumed, this pipe assumes that the first argument in the next function after the pipe is what is coming in through the pipe. So in this case here, you are not including data separately as an argument for this mutate function. You're not including data as an argument. All right. So what you're saying here is that I want to do something across. See the portion I highlighted. Just forget the mutate one for now. See the portion I highlighted. I want to do something in this data on these two columns. And what is the thing I want to do? I want to round up. Okay, round up. What does this round do? Let's look at it. Let's look at it together. What does this round do? Let me say I want to round 4.61. Let's run this code and see what the result will be. You have an idea? Are we still together? Okay, you can drop a message so I can be sure that we are still together. Okay, so what does this run do? Okay, let me run this. All right, you see that 4.61, I use the round function, it gives me 5. So what's going to happen here is that you are asking this across to perform on these two columns round. So what it will do is this. These are the two columns, length and width. It's going to round up these values and give me a whole number. Simple as ABC. It's going to round up the values and give me what? A whole number. But what this is doing here, mutate, is that I'm going to mutate this data, meaning I'm going to alter this data. So it's going to alter these two columns in this data iris. So that's what mutate does. So when you want to alter the data, use the word mutate. Not just that, when you want to add another column to this, you also use the word mutate. Is that correct? Good. So let's even say I want to still in the mutate. Remember that aspect is this aspect here is the across aspect. So let's say I want to create a new column and I call it my column. All right, my column, and I say the value of my column is actually the sepal length. Is the sepal length times 2. I say the value of my column, what's that? Why is it throwing an error? I think it's because of the comma that was not there. Okay, good. So I'm saying my column, which is the new column I'm creating, is actually sepal length times 2. Okay, let's see if this will work. Oops, it works. Okay, can you see that? So I was able to do this. Now the mutate operation, this one happened first before this one happened. All right, that was the reason why it was able to give me a perfect number. Okay, but let me run this first before running the one of the across and see what happens. Of course, we are trying to learn here. I'm gonna do this and then the one of the across later to show you what's going on there. Okay, but I'm going to run this again because the data has been mutated. Yeah, so right here, I expect at this point, that I'm going to get this new column first from the old way it looked, and then it will now mutate this. Let's see. Let's see if I'm right. We're right. Good, good, good. So you see, this new column was mutated before the rounding up happened. All right. If you are getting something, just type in the chat box, I'm following. I want to be sure we are following. Type in the chat box, following. If it's that, if what we are doing is making sense to you at all, type in the chat box, you're following. Come on, I want to see your chat. Or am I disconnected again? I'm waiting, guys. Are you guys following, please? Are you getting it at all? I guess I'm the only one into this class. Let's see. All right, you can unmute yourself now, please. I want to hear you.
Okay. Yes, we are following.
All right. I am actually not following.
Yeah.
What's happening, Grace? Talk to me.
Okay. I just realized that I was trying to get to the Irish data set, and I couldn't because my R is giving me a warning that I left the message on WhatsApp for you. Let me quickly go there. It's saying that package DPR was built under R version 4.1.3. And the version of R that I installed is 4.10 because that's what my system would allow me to install. So I can't access the data set.
So what was the option it gave you going forward?
It didn't give me any option. It just said the DPR package DPR was built under R version 4.13.
Okay,
So it didn't
just
give me
hold
any
on. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to help you to see if we can break that. Let's see if we can I want to see if we can do a cheat on that right away. Let's hold on. Okay. Don't worry. So what you might likely do is see if you can. I wanted to see if I can literally copy this. So what you might do is this. This is very simple. Remember how we created data framings in one of our classes, right?
Yes.
How we created data. So just create a data frame of this column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, sorry, 5 columns, and then just add arbitrary numbers, looking at the way this data is in itself. All right. Looking at the way it is. If the species side, you can there are basically 3 different species. Okay, or you can read about iris data online. Read about iris data online, and then create a very dummy data of iris so that you can work on it. All right. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right. So I hope every other person is following. Because I wasn't seeing your chat, so I was like, "Oh, is there any issue with the chat?" Okay.
There are messages in the chat box.
Are you? Oh, really? It's not updating here. It's not coming. It's not getting to my end. Maybe it needs to be refreshed. I don't know. Okay. All right. Let's move ahead. It's good. We are following. So having done that, you can now, that's just trying to show you what you can do with learning something from here. You can go further and look at something else. What else again did we look at here after these? Okay, we looked at mutate stuff. So we looked at the mutate. So this is an example of mutate. What you can do right here. So we brought this out as an example, the Star Wars data. I don't know if the Star Wars also is the version of R you are having, Lady Grace. If not, maybe you try to install a slightly higher R version that might have this in the deep lab. Sorry about that. So in this case, see what we are doing here. We are combining select. All right, we are combining the pipe, we are combining select, we are also combining mutate. Look at this code very critically. Yeah, the reason why we have this left-hand side is that we are assigning whatever happens from here to here to these objects. Otherwise, we will be structuring this object in state or in place. Okay, but as it stands, you are passing Star Wars through this pipe, and when it gets through this pipe, you are selecting these 2 columns from Star Wars. When you select these 2 columns, you are passing that through another pipe, and you are doing what you call mutate. So when you get to mutate here, you are creating two new columns, this column and this column. For this new column, you are using the existing column of mass. You say the value of this new column is column of mass times 2. And then the second column, which is mass 2 squared, you are using the new column you just created in this same mutate. You are multiplying it by itself. Of course, from the name here, mass 2 squared. Okay, so first and foremost, let's see. First and foremost, let's see what this data is about. This Star Wars data. So this is it. This is Star Wars. All right, name, height, mass, hair color, skin color, eye color, birth year, and sex. All right, for the Star Wars characters. Good. So you are selecting the name and the mass, the name and the mass. You pipe that through, and then you are mutating it. Mutating here, you are actually creating two new columns. All right. So I'm going to run this code and see what the value of Star Wars new is. Just run the code. And what is the value of Star Wars new? Guys, you have the name and the mass, which you selected using select, and you created two new columns. The mass 2, and then the what? The mass 2, and then the mass squared. Perfect. I'm sure you can see how beautiful this addition, I mean, this particular thing is right here. All right. I hope you're following, guys. Okay. So going with that, there are some few manipulations we want to do with dplyr. We have done a couple of them by looking. So like I said, you can learn more things here from dplyr yourself. Go through it. Once you go through it, scroll down to where the example is used, copy the example to your code and run it and see. All right, that is how you can learn R using packages. Not just dplyr, you can try another package, but dplyr is going to be very useful to you. You can also learn ggplot as well. Go to ggplot, look through every of the functions in ggplot, see the implementation by scrolling down, and then you'll be able to see how you can, how you can learn. All right, let's even see the ggplot on. This is ggplot. See the way it's listed here. If you want to manipulate axis, you use this construct aesthetics mapping. You click on this. This is it, X and Y axis. If you are bothering, you see, this is the example here. There's even a data example, MPG data. All right. Or is this the empty cars data? I think it's the empty cars data. So we just as simple as possible. You see that? And then you'll be able to run it yourself and see what the output brings out to you. So please learn R that way. You will also gain a lot. But let's come back to dplyr. We can use a filter function. How does the filter function work? For this new object we just created, you can decide to filter and say, I want the mass 2s that are less than 0. Can we see that? See the filter data we just created. Oh, sorry, less than 100. Look at it. Where mass 2 is less than 100, all of them here are less than 100. As you can see that. All right, so you also use the word select. We use select up here. As you can see, select 2 columns. That's what select does. But if you're using select alone, you have to give us the data you're selecting from, and then the 2 columns or the 2 things you want to select. Okay, good. So the next one is arrange. So you want to arrange the data set based on a particular column. Here we are arranging the filtered data. This one here that we got from here. We're arranging it based on the mass, the value of mass, this in descending order. Can we see that? Arrange data now becomes the new object. Look at it, guys. It's now arranged in descending order from 90. It's arranged from 90. Okay. All right. So I want to believe that is gotten. Now look at where mutate was used alone. All right, without the pipe. So you gave it the data first, and then you create a new column, which is aggregate of column 1 and column 2. Let's try that on, okay, if we are using that on the arranged data, we'll do it like this in the same way. Above example is, this data will come here. Okay, the other example is when you are using the pipe, you don't need to supply the first argument. If you are doing this right now, it's just going to show us the answer directly. Okay, you're creating a new column, which is the addition of this column and this column. As you can see, mass and mass 2 gives you the new column. That is what you are mutating. It returns the new column and the former column here, as you can see here. Right? So one more thing you can do, or some more things that you can do, you can summarize. When you're summarizing, you arrange data. You use the arrange data, that's what you're summarizing. And you're creating a new column, which is the mean anyway. It's just a single value that will be there. If I run this, that's just that. That's just the mean. Okay. So going forward, now these manipulations are very important, guys. Take note of these. These are very important. So going forward, you summarize. You can group by. It's the function is group by. So you give it the argument of your data. All right, and you are grouping by name. So this happens. Let's give an example. Let's say it's a population data, and you have it's population data of Nigeria, and you have this big Excel sheet that has in the column of country you have Nigeria up to 774 local government, and then in the column of states you have Lagos, because the granular data is actually at the local government level. And it is at the local government level you have it different, and with their respective value. Now, if you want to group, this is where this thing is very useful. All right, for those who understand the usage, they are already thinking about how to use this. So in the example I just gave, if this is the population data, a big data frame, name here can be grouped by states. So when you group by states, it's literally going to logically combine the states together. But what are you doing by the grouping by states? You are coming here to summarize it. So in that case, you are summarizing and you are creating this and say state mean. I mean state mean. And when you do state mean, you just calculate the mean here of the column of population. The mean of the population column. In that case, that is going to just give you the mean for each of those states. Each of the 36 states will just come out. This is a very beautiful tool. All right. So if you can get a simple data that has this kind of information I'm telling you, just use this on it. It's going to give you, it's going to give you something that you're looking for. Okay. That's that for the group by. You can even go further to use mutate here too. So a lot of manipulations you can do, especially this pipe is a very powerful tool in R. Senior guys use it a lot. Okay, so if you want to join with another data frame, you want to join two data frames together. All right, so they are expected to have a common ID, a common field that you'll be joining by. A common field, maybe an ID field that you use to join them. So you can either put it in the left or by the right. So there's a left join, there's a right join. Okay, so you are joining data 2 to data 1. Okay, so maybe you are putting data 2 by the left or whatever. When the result comes out, in this case, you will see what you just did. Okay, all right, so that is that. Do we have any questions at this point? Please ask your question. we have really, we have really gone. It took so much time initially. Not knowing the network was very terrible. So yeah. So any questions, please? Let's see. So you can unmute yourself. Let's know. Do you have any questions or anything you need clarification on?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So if you load your data frame, for example, an Excel sheet, and you mutate the data, did you alter the original data or you just alter a subset of the data you are working on?
Okay, thank you very much. So please look at this. If you loaded your Excel data from your system into R, okay, you already created a copy of the data in your R platform. The one in your system is still there untouched. Okay? The one in your system there untouched. So after doing whatever you are doing with it on the R platform, until you write back to the system, back to your system, the one in your system does not change. But when you are writing back to the one in your system, if you use the same name, then it will replace what is in your system, especially if you activate the option of replace is true. Do you understand? But the one you are working on in Arrow itself, let me go back to that. The one you are working on in Arrow itself, this is it. I'll do this example so that you can see it very, very clearly. Okay, please pay attention to this example.
Okay, thank you.
So look at I'll run this again. This is iris data. Okay. Let me not use this. Let me not use this table so that you can see the entire data. All right.
Okay.
So this is iris data. Look at Tibo has already infested it. So this is our data. It's actually okay. This is the dimension of data. It's a 5 column data with 150 rows. Okay, 5 column data with 150 rows. Okay, so from this point where I'm piping, okay, from this point where I'm piping, then I'm using mutate, is going to alter this particular iris data in place. It's going to alter it in place. Okay. The only reason, the only thing that would not make it to alter this iris, this object iris here, is if I decide to create another object here. Let's say mutated, and I assign it like this. If I do this, then I'm saying pass my iris data through this pipe. When you do that, mutate it. And when you are mutating, what I'm saying here is that create a new column for me called my column. And that column is going to be separ.length times 2. There's a column called separ.length, multiply the value by 2, comma. After that, carry out an operation across these 2 columns, separ length and separ width. And what is the operation I want you to carry out using this function across? I want you to round up the value. Round up the value. All right. So if I do this, my iris data will be intact. Nothing has happened to it. But I have successfully created a new object here, a new data that will now have all these properties. So let's run this and we'll see. Let's run it. So let's see the mutated. Look at the mutated. My column. Remember that because our new column creation comes before the rounding up, so it used the value, the former value of the column here, All right. Use the former value of the column here to multiply by 2 before we run. Okay. Let's now see our iris data itself. I pray it is still okay. Can you see that? Our iris data is still intact. Nothing happened to it.
Yes.
See that? So that is the beauty part of it. But your data that you loaded into R, like you read CSV or whatever, that one nothing has touched. That one is in. Once it comes to R, you create a copy of the data and you keep working on it. Is that clear?
It's very clear now.
All right. Thank you very much. So who else has a question, please?
Yes, I have a question. Well done. Thank you so much.
Welcome, sir.
I want to find out the programs on the stalwarts and the filter. Please, how did you get them? I understood that of Iris was obtained underneath across, but I couldn't get that of stalwarts and filtered. I tried checking for stalwarts. I saw the data, but I didn't see the different codes. How you got them to the console?
You didn't see the codes, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you can type the codes literally. I mean, you can type it directly from what you are seeing on the screen. That is one option. Sorry. You can type it directly from what you are seeing on the screen. This is it. Where is it? Yeah, Star Wars here. So the Star Wars is the name of the data itself. Type it and then select the two names. Okay. When you select the two names, you can now do mutate. So you can just type this. So long as you are able to see the data Star Wars, you can type this. I can't remember now. I think let's see, packages. It was dplyr package that I saw it in dplyr package, dplyr. And if I remember correctly, I think it was in mutate. Was it in mutate? Was it in mutate? I saw this particular example. I'm not sure. Yes, I saw it in mutate. Okay, this is what you are looking for. So if you go to mutate, you are going to, okay, not exactly the same example, but there are more good. There are more examples. There are more examples about mutate right here. Star Wars was used, very well. Even the examples about group, you see it. You see it there. Quickly run this. Let's quickly run this. All right, I'm just picking that. Let's run that very quickly. So, okay, so let's do this. So if we run this right now, okay, remember we use select 3. We're selecting three columns. We are piping that. We are grouping by species. Okay, thank God this is coming. We're grouping by species. Okay, and then we are piping that, and we are creating a new column called mass norm. Okay, and the mass norm is equals to mass divided by the mean of mass, by not considering the NA values. By not considering the NA values, and that is that. Okay, that is that. Remember, we are not. Yeah. So if we're to be, let's say, okay, I'm going to run another of this code now. Star Wars have been altered. I don't know if Star Wars have been altered. Let's run Star Wars itself. Okay, Star Wars is still there. So I'm going to run this code itself, but where is that summarize? Okay, so I'm going to use summarize this time around. Okay, Take note, I'm going to use summarize this time around. Instead of the mutate, I'm not creating a new folder. After I group by species, let me use summarize. And I'm going to do the mean. I'm doing the mean of mass. Okay. I'm choosing mass, species. I'm grouping by species. I want to see what this will give me. Let's check it out. Okay. It's supposed to show me the column of species. Why is it not showing that? Mean of max. Create a new column called mean mass, which is the mean of this. Okay, let's see if we run this again. We'll get what we are looking for. Okay, getting what I want. Okay, this is 38 times 2. This is 28 more. Lena, what's this thing here? 77 more rows. I think it has actually grouped them. I need to be sure how many species are here. So let's say str. I'm introducing another function now. Star Wars. So much data for me to grapple with. Summarize. Oh, this data is such a fun data. Summary. See what that comes out with. Oh my God. Okay, I'm not ready for this. Hopefully, when we are running our example, we'll be able to make use of this this particular function very well. So I wanted to show you what the result will be if we're actually doing a if we are doing a summarize based on mean, like I explained the other time. So hopefully we'll look for an example that matches with that. All right. But actually, when you are grouping by species, okay, when you are grouping by species and then you pass that in to summarize, it's actually going to be giving you the mean of each of those groups. That is what it's supposed to do, actually. All right. So I'm not sure why this is, except that it has given us a couple of mutation mass species. Maybe I should remove this mass, should I? Okay, mass is already coming in with it, so it's not gonna, yeah, it won't see mass. If I remove the mass will not be seen when I'm trying to summarize. Mean mass 15. Alena, what is Alena itself? Let's run for Star Wars and see. 77 more rows. I'm even thinking that, oh, sorry, we are actually very right. We are very, very right. So these are the species, okay? We are absolutely correct. The result turns out well. These are the species, and these are the mean of the species, all right? These are the species here. This is the species column. And these are the mean of the species. So there are about 38 species actually. There are 38 species. So we are 100% correct. We're 100% correct. So if we are to remove these aspects, if we are to remove this line of code, and we just do this. Sorry. And we just do this. We just select and we do this. Okay, if we are removing this other lines of code and we are selecting just this, you will see the species now. You'll see that there are actually what's it called? There are actually 77 more rows here. All right, this is showing us just the first part of the species. There are still other ones down. Okay, so in the result we got here, this is just trying to tell us that there are 38 species in all. 10 is showing here, 28 more. So this actually works. I wasn't getting it initially, so this works very well. You can use the summarize to summarize by mean and median. You can do a couple of things grouping a particular data set. All right. So because of our time today, we're going to be drawing the curtain on today's class. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be including, because we are learning from the package. So this class can only be attended through the video. All right. So hopefully I'm going to get the video also across. So you can only get this particular lesson from the video, except a few ones for the deep layer. Okay. There are other aspects of this course that ought to have been that we ought to have done today. Because of our time, we wasted the first 30 minutes with having network issues. So I might add that also to the material for today while we look at it together in the next class before we go into modeling. Mind you, next class we are going into modeling. We are going to be doing, I think we're going to be looking at regression modeling alone in this free course. We wouldn't be looking at other aspects of modeling. Maybe if you think it's good to join the masterclass, then we will consider logistic regression. And we can even go as far as doing some principal component analysis and other beautiful statistical measures. Okay, all of these can be done in R. You know, all kinds of analysis can be done in R. All kinds of analysis. So keep your fingers crossed as we go towards the end of this course. So modeling is the last aspect of the lecture, after which we will take one or two projects. Like it's going to be short projects that will be lasting maybe an hour or less than. Maybe we're just going to take a real life data set either around us here or some data sets from somewhere around the world. We would look at it together, ask questions, and try doing one or two things using that data set. All right, so this is where we draw the curtain for today's class. If you have any questions, please, it's time to push forward your questions.